Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, thank you for clicking on that video. My name is Michiko and basically I make videos about life here in Canada. So today I wanted to kind of like talk about expenses, how much is it to come here. I'll break it down to a couple of parts in my sheet right here. This would be kind of like a semi DIY plus with an immigration consultant. I would also show you our list of expenses like flight tickets, how much is it to fly your dog to Canada, and a couple of things like Airbnb. So keep on watching. So that, like what I mentioned, this would be expenses that we have paid very high level before we come here, and I'll show you how much we paid for an immigration consultant and plus semi DIY. So coming to Canada, you have the option to contract a kind of like an immigration consultant or representative, I think that's what they call it, when you apply online, or you can also do it DIY. Now just a little bit background before we get into that, I promise, just one sec. The reason we got an immigration consultant we applied back in Japan, and the immigration consultant was located here in Montreal, Canada, was that we wanted to make sure that everything is in line. This is our first time applying abroad for a PR, so we just want to make sure that we do get the visa with as high a percentage as we can. So that's the reason why we got the immigration consultant. So let's go ahead and list down the expenses, and if you do want to skip to a specific expense, I'll put the list here or in here, and I'll put the timestamps down below as well. So first expenses would be immigration consultant. So how much did we pay for that? We paid roughly around 2,500 Canadian each. I know, silence. It is expensive. We just had to bite the bullet and said, just go for it. The involvement of the immigration consultant was that she would check everything, every letter, every document, every step of the way. She would have to tell us what to do. So at the end, was it worth it? Absolutely. I think that without her, we wouldn't know how to apply. You can do it for yourself, but you would have to do a lot of research, what kind of information to put, especially that we lived in a couple of countries before moving to Canada, so we did had to gather a lot of documents. So I would say she was really a good help. She was also letting us know how we can increase the score, what we have to do. So it was absolutely, I would say, worth it. Second would be on the WES, or World Education Service. This is your education evaluation. We paid roughly around 220 Canadian for that. You do have to get your English test as well. I did the IELTS. That's around 25,830 Japanese yen, which roughly amounts to 200 Canadian. Medical expenses, once you get your PPR or your passport request, that's around 348 Canadian. It is quite expensive in Tokyo. I'm not quite sure how much is it in other countries. Comment down below. I'm quite interested to know how much is it, or how much you paid for. NBI clearance, this is the police certificate I had to get in the Philippines as well because I lived there. That's around $25 US for the service fee. So total, I would say with consultant we paid, this is per person, 3,286 Canadian, and if without a consultant you are going to be saving a lot of money, which roughly around to 786 Canadian. So that's how much we kind of paid pre-Canada. Now, how much is it when you have the visa, you're so excited, you're gonna come here? how much is it or how much we paid for it. This is, of course, 2 years ago. And the flight ticket that we got is that we flew to Singapore first because we had to get our dog. So the flight ticket for that for Air Korea is 1,238 Singapore dollars. So Singapore dollars to Canadian dollars is almost the same. I would say just a few dollars difference. We took Air Korea, that's from Singapore, and then our layover was to Seoul, and then we went, or Seoul to Toronto. So that was roughly around 13-hour flight from Seoul to Toronto. I do recommend Google Flights if you are looking for cheap and inexpensive tickets. Go ahead and check that out. The dog cost to fly the dog is much more expensive compared to our own ticket. It's via Lufthansa Cargo, and they have their pet program. If you do want to see how I brought my dog here, I'll put the video up as well. And we paid roughly around 2,051 Singapore dollars as well. So like what I said, Singapore dollars, Canadian dollars are almost the same. And Airbnb, we paid 1,666 Canadian dollars. And that's roughly for 20 days, 19 nights. I believe at the time that was the maximum we could book in that place itself. This is, mind you, not in downtown at all. It was like in the west side of Toronto, and it's already Etobicoke, so it's not really within accessible, but there were buses, so it was fine. And that would be, yeah, like what I said, 1,666 Canadian. So how much you spent with this is a total expenses with the dog, so that's around 4,122 Canadian dollars. But if it's without dog, that's around 2,071 Canadian dollars. So this would really depend, I would say, on the flight ticket, where are you coming from, and also where you're going to be staying. So short-term rentals, Airbnb and stuff, that would really differ whenever, if let's say you're going to be living in the city, of course that's going to be much more expensive. And there's a couple of places as well, if you do negotiate for a longer term, they can give you a discount. So roughly this is what we kind of paid Canada. Like as you can see in my sheet right here, it is not cheap. I know it could be, you know, inexpensive for some, but it could rack up if you do have kids that you have to bring here. This would also not include the money that you have to have in the bank. This is just expenses to coming here. I'm quite interested to know how much, or if you came to Canada, how much you paid to come here on a PR application or express entry application. Comment down below. If you do have any questions as well, I do answer any questions in this channel, so put that there. If you do like this video and if you feel that this was helpful for you, go ahead and like this video. And if you want to see my other videos next time, subscribe to my channel so that you'll be notified next time. Alright, this is it guys. Thank you again for watching, and I'll see you next time.